So that's going to segue into the conversation we were having offline.
Mm-hmm.
So that example of being Scar or being Mufasa, based upon the circumstances that you were given. Now, do you want the kingdom that you're forming to be under the leadership of Scar? Or do you want the kingdom that you're forming to be under the leadership of Simba? I'll say Simba had more longevity, more visual longevity, because you were already Mufasa before Lil Youngin got there. You already lived through Mufasa. That part of you had to die. It brought you into a Scar. And Scars are cool because scars are not wounds. You feel me? Scars are what happens when those wounds finally heal. And then you get a second chance at leadership in the kingdom.
Oh, that was good.
And then you get the chance to be Simba, because Simba is what it looks like to be able to take vengeance, justified vengeance. Because sometimes, in order to recuperate what is supposed to be yours, you have to fight for it. But do you want that leadership and that legacy to be a legacy of dysfunction? Because all Scar did was bring chaos, dysfunction, vision, and he came to kill, steal, and destroy. Simba came to bring restoration. So everybody like Mufasa. However, Simba was low-key like Jesus, because he pulled up on the scene. He was like, now that I know who I am, I'm about my father's business. And ain't nothing gonna stop me, not you, not them hyenas you rolling with, gonna stop me from handling what's rightfully mine. This is my rock that I stand on.
That's good. That's good.
Made like 3 more movies after that.
Right. So, all right. So here's my interpretation of this movie. When you look at it from a standpoint of elevation, or you look at it from a standpoint of growth, Simba was the innocence. He was the essence of a small child that was about to walk into a journey of life. If you remove Simba, if you remove Mufasa and you remove Scar out of this whole situation, and you allow Simba to just grow up and just kind of go into the pride, which is life, which is trials, tribulations, you know what I mean, which is the cares of life, all of that stuff. The way that you travel through life will determine what they say, your attitude will determine your altitude. Right. And so when you're going through the Pride Land and you're meeting Timons and Pumbas and Zazus and the crazy monkey, and you got all these people trying to pour into you and trying to give you tidbits of information, but then you got the hyenas, you know what I mean, those people that are just out here being savages. What happens is you now come to a fork in the road, or what the church would say, a Kairos moment, and you will now be like, oh, I have a choice to make. Whether I become Mufasa, who understands the circle of life, who has respect for everybody's, own characteristics and the way that they're supposed to operate, and understand that, hey, I eat this person eats me, then this person eats that, and it's a circle, it's a chain, everybody's connected. Or where I come and I'm Star, and what I'm doing is I'm taking everything by force because it wasn't given to me, or I'm a product of my environment. I was raised by a hustler, so I'm a hustler, so my son's gonna be a hustler. So when you understand that it's a battle of two different ideologies, then you actually look at it from a standpoint of, what kind of legacy am I about to leave for my son? So when he looks about the stars and sees a reflection of himself, what is he seeing? Because ultimately, when we really look at it, all Simba was a reflection of what he saw or what he idolized. And then there are moments in time where he looked at Scar like, might be a little bit easy. Like, how many times have we looked at dudes who be on the block who got all the money, got all the girls who be out here busting it down, and they got everything. They got the chains, they got the cars, they got the girls, they got everything. Versus looking at the hard working man that goes to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's struggling. And we sitting there looking like, I don't know who I should be more like.
But here's the part that they didn't really dive into much with Scar.
Mm-hmm.
About his whole mentality. Scar is just what happens when you act out of pride and you're ungrateful. Because everything that Mufasa had, Scar was like next in line, basically like, I can't give you my rulership, but you can still have whatever you want. And he was like, no, that's not good enough. I need it to be mine. It's like, bro, but you eat it. You ain't got to work for no meal. They bring it to us.
Right. But
you also have if you want to.
Now, let's take it back to the cartoon. Take it back to the cartoon when Mufasa and Scar were kids. Like they broke that down because if I'm mistaken, isn't Scar older than Mufasa?
I think so.
So yeah. therefore, who should be rightfully on the throne for real? If we're going
the one who's going to rule it the right way.
But okay, now here we are. So here we are. We got a prodigal son situation. We got a prodigal son situation going on because here we are. I got a lineage. I got a legacy coming. So I want my legacy now. Well, you can wait. You can wait for the legacy until this dude dies, but I want mine now.
Mm-hmm.
But then so I think here's where it comes crazy, right? So remember in the Bible when after the prodigal son came home,
mm-hmm.
and then when the prodigal son came home, at what point did the good son look at the bad son and be like, yo, I want to kill him, or I can't wait for my dad to die because I stayed home. I did what I was supposed to do. I did everything he asked me to do. And he still embraced him more after he left, took all his money and squandered it away. And I think at that moment.
But did he though? But did he embrace him more, or was he just happy to regain what he lost? Because that's the thing was the ongoing story throughout the Bible is restoring broken relationships. On choices that aren't even always the person who wanted to restore relationships' fault.
And I get that, but I think what no one really takes into mind is what about the ones? Because I think the greater question has always been, well, what about the ones who do it right? It's always about recovering the ones who do it wrong. But what about the ones who do it right? They don't get any glory, any affirmation. They don't get any bonus for doing it right. So then what happens is, what is the point of being good if all the bad people do all the good works? So now I'm going to go be bad. Because then at that point, again, here you are, you're waking up.
But hold on, didn't the older brother end up like being passed the entire inheritance because he did stay?
No, I don't think so, bro.
Because there is. I wish I brought my Bible to work, because now I'm like I'm about to like, okay, so hold up, because there was something said in behalf of the favor of the dude who stayed. Like there is something to be said about consistency, although consistency is not glorified. That's the problem that we have, and that's the lesson that's being taught. Like I feel you. Like there's no. Oh my God, I love you for being who you are every day, all day.
Right.
Instead of being like, woo, you ran away, but now that you're back, I'm so happy.
Right. Because again, I'm looking at it like, so you're telling me this dude ran away, he took everything, he didn't do nothing you told him to do, but yet you're still glorifying him. You're throwing him a feast. You're bringing out the father's clothes. I've been here every day. I've been watching you. I've been doing everything you asked me to do, and I get nothing. I get what I'm supposed to get.
He told him all this was already yours. You just never asked for it. It was already yours whenever you wanted it. You just never said nothing. Closed mouths don't get fed, bro. Like this is a feast because he's back, because I'm happy and I love my son. However, everything that's in our kingdom was already yours every single day. So what if I give him one day when you've had it every day?
I think like these are the moments that turns Mufasa's into Scars, because the way that you can easily try to, fix it. I got a better one. Was it Joseph? Cause was the one he had all the dreams. He so his brothers leave him out there in the field to die. Then when he come back, he sell him into slavery. Then after he gets back from slavery, he's on the throne and there's a famine that hit the earth. At what point a regular person, I know me, I'm Captain Pepper at your service. I'm sorry, and I'm asking God to really, really break this. But there's no way that I could be him after being left for dead, sold into slavery, and miraculously, I made it out of it. Now, I get it. You come for yourself, you pray, God opens the doors, you come out, you're like, hey, kumbaya. But at that point, I'm sitting on the throne in the midst of a famine. And then the same people who sold me into slavery, who left me for dead, even my father, who talked juicy to me, is at my feet begging me for food. I'm the type of cat where I'm gonna take a big ass turkey leg. Be like, I ain't got that up, bro. Sorry.
And see, what if all that he went through was the test for his heart at that moment? Where you could be justified. You could be so justified and turning your back and turning up on them and doing this whole, that, and the third. But, and you making that decision, that then takes that changes the trajectory of your heart and what was supposed to be for you. Because once your heart stops increasing, your blessings start decreasing.
Facts. I agree.
Let's say they would have been like, and then Pharaoh would have been like, I thought that was your fam, bro. You gonna treat your people like that? If you would do that to your own family, I can't have you running my nation.
I get that.
I can't have you running my nation. I brought you here because you was making good choices.
So here's the thing, right? And it's crazy because I've been in my room. I got my jazz playing. I'm meditating, and so I started writing about this. Right? I started writing about it. First started off power. So power is knowledge, skill, work ethic, and then success ultimately, because those things right there, that's how you can measure the power of a person, right? And then I went to reflection, and it says inside of you is what shows outside of you. So, for instance, Scar had a battered heart. He was broken inside, and what did it show on his posture, his face? It showed how he felt inside. Then it says your perception is a reflection of what your thoughts and your feelings are. So anytime that you are feeling some type of way inside of your mind, you take everything as an offense. Someone can accidentally bump you and you're ready to go. You're ready to, wild out.
Yeah.
Because you're already in this mindset of just setting it off because you already got in your mind that that's what you want to do to somebody anyway. And then I said, your sight of yourself is what you can see in others. So now I gotta say it like this. Star was only doing whatever he was trained or indoctrinated to do. Because of whatever his process through the Pride Land, because everybody had to go through the Pride Land, everybody has to go through their trials and tribulations. That's why it says work your own salvation out with fear and trembling. Everybody has to go through it. And the way that you come out on the other side of the Pride Land will determine what type of man that you are. And when you go through being sold into slavery and being left for dead, and you still can come to the throne and still bless the very people who tried to curse you, you're Mufasa. But when you're on the throne and you like, hey, off with their heads, you're scarred because you allow the cares of life to turn, to change, to toxify your heart and your mind,
right?
and in
So
this
what I'm hearing is decision after decision after decision. Because here's what's not going to happen: God is not going to hold you accountable for what people do to you. He's going to hold you accountable for what you do to other people.
Yeah.
So you can choose. Like I said, you would be very justified to choose to be scarred. Mm-hmm. However, with those choices will come a day where you get devoured by the decisions that you made.
Facts. And i.e., that's when you become Venom.
Yeah, that's when you become Venom and you end up being the bad guy at that point. Now, they'll always spin it around. They'll always spin it around. You'll become an anti-hero. But if you even look at what that word means, bro, that don't make sense. You're an anti, which is the opposite of what a hero is. So you're not doing things that would measure up as good. They're just going to be good to your perspective. That's why I still have the battle of perception is reality. However, there's your truth and there's a higher truth. There can always be two things can be true, and there also can be something that's more truthful than what two people believe to be their truth.
Right. Well, see, I stand on this, and this is where I'm at right now. Become a hero long enough to see yourself turn into a villain.
Yeah.
And when you understand what he was saying, he's like, all I want to do is create change. All I wanted to do is to be better. All I wanted to do is be the change that I wanted to see. But yet here I am. The same people that I was trying to rid a population of, I became because of my experience in trying to change it. And it's like, at what point do we stop losing superheroes? At what point do we start to value them? Because even Transformers, the Transformers can save people from aliens in the moment. Any superhero, every superhero. At what point was a hero? And then once all the bad people are gone, everybody did good. And so it was like, well, what was the point? So
the point was, regardless of if anyone applauds you for doing the right thing, do the right thing. Because you still gonna have to live with yourself. You're gonna still have to live with yourself. Because here's the thing: out of all that, even when he achieved everything that he wanted, he still didn't have peace.
Facts.
And what price can you put on that?
Priceless.
Bro, you achieved the goal. You became king, and you devoured everything that you set your eyes on.
Facts.
You created a new society. You've done it. You've done it all. And you mean to tell me after eating every animal in the Pride Land, you still hungry?
Facts.
Bro, we ain't gonna more unquenchable hunger. What, you gonna start eating lions now, bro? You gonna start eating your own?
Facts. That's real. And see, damn, that's
because you ain't got no peace, because all the decisions you made was a heart change, and you started to mutate. Instead of growing, you started to mutate.
And then after that,
and what if Scar would have had another kid?
Everything
that would have been Scar's heart would have been multiplied onto that child. They would have dealt with generational curses, and because there's so much more accessibility, they would have found more ways to pervert and mutate their own heart.
And it's to the point, and it would have been to the point where there wouldn't. So
they would have had to genocide Scar's whole family line, bro.
Facts.
They would have had to kill the whole family line.
See, now I'll say it like this. Innocently, I'll say there are people who start off doing the right thing which turns wrong-ish. It's wrong-ish. And then it's only wrong. So like I have a corner store, and every now and then I might run some numbers, or I might let something illegal go through because ends wasn't meeting. I really couldn't do what I needed to do. I wanted to do better for my family and my people. So I did something every now and then that was kind of illegal. So then after time, it went from kind of illegal to nigga, they got a whole trap house in the back. Then it go from we ain't even got no stuff in the store, but we can.
Is you telling on me right now, nigga?
Nigga, we shut the whole store down, and we just got a whole dip busted in the back. Then we done bought the apartments upstairs. So if anybody needs to use upstairs, we got a whole Carter upstairs. Now we got a basement with a safe full of guns and ammunition. Now we're so far away from the essence of why we begin this in the first place. So then when I die, my son picks this up, and all he sees is the moment. He didn't see why it started. He didn't see it or to get an understanding. So now we just do away with the whole fucking store. I mean, the whole freaking store. Sorry, we do away with the whole freaking store, and now we're on the block. We're flipping bricks, and we're making moves out of town. So now it's like you can't even go to him and try to correct where he went wrong, because all he knows is this is the way that it is. This is the way. You know what I'm saying?
And bro, here's the crazy part. Not because here's the crazy part, because out of everything we've been saying, you said he got so far away from the mark. The actual like plainest definition of sin is just missing the mark. All it is missing the mark. So how it just the people are like, I mean, yeah, no sin is greater than the other, but it's like you can hit the bullseye and be off by a hair. You still didn't hit the bullseye. Or you can mess around and I'm no longer even going to shoot at the bullseye. I'm doing my own thing. And then now you got now you got bull's eyes because you just shot your homie eye out. And you was like, order the game, bro. You shouldn't have been right there. You'll justify it.
That's real.
You'll justify missing the mark because I don't know better. Ha, you can't hold me accountable.
Right. And see, you know, and it's like, bro, The Bronx Tale is an old movie, but it has so much wisdom in it. And when he said, he was just like, nobody cares, and I'm like, bro, and I started to really understand that nobody cares. It's only about what you can do for me in the moment. After that moment's gone, bro, it's over. It's over. So I'm sitting there watching him. A clip of Young Dirk, Lil Durk, whatever the hell his name is, and they were trying to give like some backdrop on his pop, and he was like, "Yeah, my dad done did this, and he was moving both. He was like, what, 3 M's," and I'm like, bro, like you're glorifying that. Like, why are you happy about that? But then I've never heard a young man say, "Yeah, my dad worked 5 books and he did this," and I've never heard it. I've never heard it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I'm trying to figure out the mindset of some of these cats that I'm saying I hear a lot of glorification for things that I'm like, but why are you glorifying that to make that okay? I know points should that be all right. But again,
indoctrination.
Right, but see, but going back to what I said though, the way that your perception is based off of where your heart's at. So I can't tell you your perception is wrong if your heart is where it's at, because my heart's not where your heart is. So therefore, I can't see it the way you'll see it, and I never will until I get into your position and I become you or become where you come from. But then even then, my argument still is, but you still can be better. You can choose to be different if you choose to. But I mean, it's hard because again, you're so far away. If my destination is downtown and I'm downtown Pittsburgh and I'm in Garfield, all right, that's not too bad. That's a 15-minute ride. But if my
Right.
destination is downtown and I'm out in Newcastle, you feel me? Like there's no way.
Your heart can be in the right place, but if you're not in the right place, you're not in the right place. But no, this is where my heart is. But
I say
I don't care, bro. We made it downtown.
facts.
Y'all wrong. Okay. Okay.
Right. Right. And so now the question is, how do you, and I was talking to one of my boys, and you know who I'm talking about. But, and it's crazy because I was talking to him and he said something to me that blew my mind. But then I had another conversation with somebody on the outside of this, on outside persuasion, and they said the same thing. They said we need to do a mass cleansing of anyone who has a very skewed perception of society. I said, if you're talking about doing it 300 style, there's no way that would even work. There's no way, because all someone has to do is sit there and be like, all right, you know what? It's kind of like the mark of the beast. Hey, you gonna take the mark of the beast or you die? Wow. You feel me? So
Right.
could you imagine having a kid and then that kid comes out and it doesn't look like what you expected it to look like, and you kick it off the side of a mountain?
What?
You feel me? Look what I'm saying. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, the fact that this is a conversation that we're having, it blew my mind. But then again, I'm like, there are people who's saying like, yo, I will never change. I will always be this way. There's no good that you could do for me that is going to make me be better than where I am right now.
But that's also free will, and that's where it comes in about being reprobate. Because there gets to a point where you allow your free will to, for lack of a better word or phrase, supersede the will of God. Because if I'm sitting here trying to throw you, I got this analogy the other day from Victoria's brother, I think. There's so many people who die drowning because they don't like the boat that's sent to save them. So I got this raft. I'm like, here, I throw you a lifesaver. You're like, bro, I don't want that lifesaver. It ain't gonna be strong enough to carry me.
Right.
So another boat comes by, a speedboat. It's like, hey, bro, grab this rope. I'm gonna pull you in. It's like, no, I don't want no speedboat. You know what I'm saying? I need something bigger because blah, 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 blah. It's like, and so you just sit out there holding on to whatever and just wading in the water while you slipping and drowning, and you hoping like one of them cruise ships over there come get you, but you're too small for a cruise ship to even see. So would you rather not be saved because it's not what you want? Would you rather just stay in your situation? I mean, you could, because that's your choice, but at the same time, you'll probably die before you accept that help.
Now, let us be fair. I think that is something that we all have struggled with, especially those who are saved. And if you didn't grow up in the church, there were numerous people that came to you and tried to tell you about God, but you was like, have a good one.
Right.
But then it took that right person, that right time, that right moment that got you, captivated your thoughts, that was able to gauge your heart and spoke that right word that got you into the house and got you saved. The problem is, I feel like if we understand fivefold, if we understand positioning in church, if we understand evangelism, you know, the problem is like my mom, I could be like, oh, that chicken sandwich just doesn't agree with my stomach. Well, you know what they say, you know, if it's lukewarm, spit it out your mouth. And I'm like, what does that even, you know? The people who over spiritualize things, who don't have a balance between, you know, common sense and, you know, and just regular conversation versus spirituality, being dimensional enough to understand, all right, this person I'm talking to, they need to hear realistic facts. If you come to me and you tell me that I ain't got a job and I'm about to go lick somebody unless I get a job today. Of course, I'm going to pray with you, but it's not going to be for you to find the job. It's going to be for you to keep your mind, to keep focused, and to keep understanding until you do find the job. But I'm not just going to walk away from you after I pray. No, I'm going to get on the horn. I'm going to be like, yo, he's hiring. Yep, I need my man to get in there. Or I'm going to put some money in his pocket so that whatever lick that he was about to go hit, he's not going to think about it because he got money in his hand. Take him to Walmart, get him some food. Whatever he's in need of in that moment, take care of that moment so that he can last another day. But I'm like, but so many people are overly spiritualizing situations, and that's when people turn away from the church. Because it's like, but nigga, I told you my wife's about to get cut off. My wife's about to
I'll tell you my life's about to get cut off. I'm not trying to hear Jesus light of the world, man.
like, I'm not. Right, you feel me? Like, unless Jesus is about to be a genie and I can rub his stomach and he's gonna pop some hands in my hand, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
But what I need is I need the works. Faith without works is dead. So me sitting here praying with you isn't going to solve it. I need the works of the faith. So I need to get out here and I need to do this and I need to do that. And so I think that is the reason why, like, there's a lot of people that are going to remain reprobate because it's like the wrong people are going out to try and reach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, don't come to me singing boom. Hold on, what? Go do whatever you got to do until I'm done. So
you better speak with a little more peace in your voice.
No, bro, no, she does that every time she hears me on the phone. But anyway, but
Who you talking to?
my daughter
got a good reason to be with.
No, she don't. Ooh, he's a hater. But no, but my thing is, you got a lot of people who get out there and they have the right spirit or the right heart to do it. But I'm like, but you're not anointed to do it. Like you don't have the anointing to be out here doing this. Like you can't tell me what to do or what not to do if you never did it. And that's why, like I was saying earlier, we can't get so caught up in our mistakes. We can't get caught up in like where we are in life in that moment because that was purpose. And when God said to me that the capture has now become the capture, it blew me away. He said, because how can you sit here and tell anybody about anything if you've never been where they are? You are the wild lion that has been running around like the lion and where they're all, but you've never been inside of a cage.
Right.
Rely on someone feeding you.
So that's why I was coming from the perspective of before you allow yourself to become scarred, because I've been there before.
Right.
Based upon similar situations, maybe not to as great of a level,
Right.
but I don't have to eat out the same pot of spaghetti to let you know I know what spaghetti tastes like, so to speak. And that's what I'm saying. Before you allow yourself to become scarred,
yeah. Say it again.
Before you allow yourself to become scarred. Before you embrace scar.
Right.
Because becoming and embracing is two different things. You can become something unbeknown to yourself. But when you embrace it, that means you love the embodiment of what it is and you decide to hold on to it.
But see, you know what? I feel like this. You know, when they say walk a mile in my shoes.
No, we got 30 seconds. Bro.
Yeah, when they say walk a mile in my shoes, I think that's something that we need to do. Just don't keep the shoes on. And it's I think that's what it boils down to when it comes to that situation. But I mean, good talk though. This was good. So we got to do this again.
You know it. Moxie Talk out.
All right, baby. Yes, sir.